All right, hello everyone. Some sort of giant mystery here is happening, and that would be that things look like it might actually start on time, or really, really close to being on time, as in we have everyone on the server at the moment. How freaking weird is that? Anyway, hi, I'm Feather Monster. You're here to watch a week 4 Division 1 match. That'd be Intent versus Overextension. Starting off on an Oz server, which obviously isn't showing Overextension as being, an actual team. They're just shown as aliens at the moment. Um, Going through their roster, they have Parsnip, Bruno, Sardine, Loam, Fiskbit, Azloco, and Rising. Intent is all joined up as well, and they have Flo, Tommy Guns, Lucas, Kartushka, Oldwick, and Aol. So I think that, as somebody just hits F4 or disconnects, looks like Lucas just imploded. Well, I'm assuming he's going to be coming back, but okay, there we go. Yeah, he's just reconnecting. Good job. So we'll be having this starting up pretty soon, I would imagine. This is just amazing that it's like, not even 10 minutes past and they already have everyone pretty much on the server. I mean, this is pro job here. This is like the most on time NS2 will ever be. At least as far as I can tell. Obviously, since this is a week 4 match, we're going to be doing Tram and Descent. Tram will be Marine South Spawn this week, and since it has been fixed in the NSL mod, at least I think it's fixed in the NSL mod. Theoretically, I don't know, since this is an Oz server, it's running off of their Oz server thingy widget. It should be. I'm hoping that it's also locked so that Marines are South Spawn. I'm hoping that somehow it is set up in some crazy way that it will be that way and we won't have to worry about it. Because if so, that means no RNG. We just go and play and everything magical happens. Anyway, so we're let's see how much longer. We have another minute or so before it goes live. It looks like, which is no problem. Oh no, now we lost another one of the intent players. I thought this was going to start on time, and now they're just trying to prove me wrong. This is how it goes, guys. Um, I actually wanted to take a look anyway. Oh, okay, we got one of them back. Let me take a look here because I actually forgot to check one thing. They play. Okay, I did want to say I'm not quite sure how this match is going to go. I'm looking forward to seeing it because I know that the last time these players on both of these two teams met was back when Overextension, at least a chunk of the players. I think now it's only, as far as the people on that roster, I think it might just be Fisk that's the only one remaining from old work in progress days. The last time that so I guess that doesn't really have as much overlap. But, back last season, there was the seeding match between Work in Progress and Intent, and it went 2-2. It was a really sloppy 2-2, and I know Fisk likes pointing out the exact point in the stream, or the exact point in the cast when you can or hear Joshy's soul crack or something like that. But obviously that is hopefully not going to be the case here. I mean, I know that since becoming Overextension, the team that Fisk is on has gotten a lot better than they were back in ye olden days last season. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this ends up going, whether they end up tying again or whether it swings one way or the other. But we'll just have to see. What else was there? People talking about coffee. All right, Intent has actually readied up, so we're going to be sitting here going pretty soon, it sounds like. Also, as far as trying to guess how these two teams will turn out, it seems more like, at least just judging by the like scores they've had so far, it seems like Intent has faced like a bunch of people that have been able to just totally wallop them. Meanwhile, Overextension's had a bit more of a nice even time. So I'm pretty much ready to go here. So it sounds like they were just waiting on me, or so we're going to get ready into round 1 here, starting nice and almost on time. Onward to round 1 between Intent and Overextension. In 10 seconds, of course. Alright, so it does look like Fix spawns. Huzzah! To see whether we end up with a gorge on this map, and it looks like we are. There's Fisk turning into a gorge. Have about four Marines all heading out towards the right side of the map, but 2 of those are going down to hub, so they're going to meet up with at least 2. Oh, it looks like most of Overextension's just heading into hub. We got 4 just kind of hanging out, trying to figure out what to do there. Just waiting. I don't know whether they think those are the only ones, but obviously Loam and Zoloko have set up way early, and they're totally going to be able to just jump down and slaughter them potentially. So they're moving in, and they're going to take down Flo. There's this nice little gap where I think Zoloko was hiding, which would be like right in between the 2 little gaps there in the archway. I think that's where he was hiding. I don't think a lot of people check in there because it's like totally random and it doesn't exactly leave the best movement. But anyway, it looks like they're going for mines. We got the gorge tunnel up already in Mez. So they have that pretty top part of the map pretty much locked down, at least for now. And all the aliens are just kind of set up and waiting. They're scattered around a little bit. Looks like Bruno might get picked off by Oldwick, maybe. Nope, they both stop. Oldwick has to reload, but Bruno's really going to be hurting a bit there. Hear a bit more fighting going on over here in Hub. That'd be Ale and Flo. Bruno, again, taking a lot of chip damage, but not dying. But Fisk is like right back up there in Mez, so he can go and get some heals. Or they can just go back to the Hive, you know, either or. Just getting things capped and not too much so far. Just that initial push towards platform definitely got totally annihilated, though, by that initial setup, which was a pretty nice one. And definitely wouldn't have been as effective if there was only one of them, because pulling 4 aliens to deal with one Marine, kind of silly. Zoloko takes quite a bit of damage there, and so does Bruno. Bruno ends up going down. Zoloko magically survives with like 3 HP. Tommy Guns is the only survivor on the Marines, but he had the nice little corner here, this sort of like hairpin turn kind of thing, or whatever, in the hallway there to get into ET, to hide behind so he didn't get taken down. So definitely a positional advantage for him right there. Kartushka just standing over by the tech point, trying to get quite a bit of distance there. Bruno's just kind of like poking his nose in, trying to get the parasite, I'm assuming, trying to see if he could line that up. And he does get the parasite and is able to back off. Meanwhile, we're seeing another 2 pressuring up into North Tunnels again. Zoloko, again, moving to try and get a good position, but he wasn't quite set up that time. So here comes Bruno and Loam, and they're able to clear up those 2 Marines, no problem. Tommy Guns moves in at the last moment, but ends up getting taken down by them. A little bit too late to join in. Armor 1 has been started, and they did go for mines first, so if we take a look down at base, you can see there's like 2 packs of mines in there, so that'll definitely slow things down if Over.Extension does have the opportunity to go into their base. You can see, yet again, there goes the 2 pressure wandering up towards Hub again, but guess what? We have 2 lurks up. That'd be Zoloko and Rising. Kartushka's probably... Oh, he just melts Rising. That was not a good first engagement for those lurks. A little bit too confident, perhaps, in that engagement, and they had AOL showing up through the hallway. So I think even if he'd taken that one, even if he'd just taken, you know, 3/4 of his health, he probably would have been taken down by AOL right there. You can see that after that, I think after that initial push into platform, you can see there's all this PvE set up. 2 whips, a crag. What's he building now? Oh, that was just the other whip, whatever. Alright, so they're moving in there. They're 1 lurk down. Zoloko's got to be really careful now, especially if they aren't used to playing on Australian ping. They're just going to go in there. 3 Marines just hanging out in Hub now. Ail's pushing a little bit far forward, though. We're seeing Tommy Guns possibly flanking from the other side. Fisky's all alone over in Ore, so he better watch out, and he's going to have a bit of a time there as the Gorge. Yeah, okay, you got the crag up, but meanwhile over here in North Tunnels, 1 Marine down. There's still 3 up in this section of map. As I try and center the camera here, it looks like Zoloko's going to try and rescue Fisk. Gets a couple nice bites there on Tommy Guns. He just needs a little bit of spikes. He bites him down, and Fisk is alive to heal again another day. Over Flo and Kartushka are now in Hub. Weapons 1 finally started, as well as shotguns, both starting at the same time there. They do have fire RTs. If we take a quick look, there hasn't been any res taken down. Though, of course, as I say that, I see that repair is now blinking. You can see that it's really heavy PvE setup. There's a crag, there's a whip. Then there's this annoying Gorge spitting at them down the hallway. Oldwick manages to pick Rising as he goes down the hallway. Of course, that's almost a shooting gallery if they aren't dodging around the right chunks of wall. There's even a mine placed back here for if they really get into trouble, they could just back up onto that. Looks like they're melting the crag over here in Ore. Rising's going to attempt to stop that, but so far at the moment it's not exactly doing the greatest. Tries to take down Ale and ends up going down. Meanwhile, the Crag is still in danger of dying, and it looks like it will go down here. Now they can start working on the RT, and that would be the first RT going down unless something... Oh, one went down somewhere. Looks like that was down in Logi. And it already's been redropped, and Oldwick is coming to recap it. Bruno moves in. Yes, oh, and he'll get a free RT to bite down. They might end up recycling it. We'll see if that happens. But at the moment, we got Zaloka just kind of holding them off. They really haven't done much damage to the Harvester as of yet. There they go. Tries to move in there on the reload. He retreats back to the hallway. Loam goes in for a couple bites. A little bit of lag there. Looks like, oh, wow, quite a bit of lag. Australian servers not always friendly to well, pretty much anyone else anywhere on the globe. Bruno getting some parasites on the important structures in base and trying to get out. They'll be able to see what they're researching if Parsnip is checking. Meanwhile, all this looks like they were trying to move some of the PvE to possibly guard the tunnel, but the tunnel just got wrecked. We've got Flo and Kartoshka kind of cut off, but if they move into a server, you can see the Drifter's already placed as if they're going to drop the Hive. They do have plenty of res for it, 58 res, and they're, even if they don't hang out and, you know, hear the Hive drop later on, they're probably going to guess that that Hive was pretty much soon to go. You can see Ail's down there as well. It looks like they're probably going to be trying to get the power primed for a phase gate coming up. I mean, at this point, they had to decide. Over.Extension has to decide. Ooh, lots of jittering for me. Over.Extension has to decide whether they're just going to leave them there, and it looks like they have decided that trying to leave those two Marines there is probably the better choice. I'm having some crazy internet issues, it looks like. At least to the server. We do have a fade up. That'll be Bruno at the moment, and I think we're going to see Loam up as a fade here momentarily as well. If everybody will quit jittering around all over the place. Bruno's in danger of getting taken down. He ends up zipping out through ore. I apparently left one thing that still makes sound on. I will fix that after this round. And we've got Flo and Kartoshka now moving forward up into platform. Of course, they've taken down the one RT that was over there in server, which has since been redropped, and I think that's Fisk on it right now, trying to heal it up. Fates aren't doing that, you know, awesome of a job of clearing those Marines out promptly. They did take out some of the cysts, and nobody really died except for Marines there, so... Not exactly the worst, and they actually put up an OBS there, I think. Yeah, that's an OBS there in Hub, so they can have a good idea of where all the aliens are going. And with, what is that? Weapons 2 starting up soon. They already have Armor 2. I mean, there's the phase gate going up right there in Hub, so that'll give them a nice launching point to try and take over this top part of the map. I mean, of course, if you look at the res graph, they've been keeping pretty much on par with each other, which is not a good thing if you're a Marine. You want the aliens to have less res, so that way they can't, you know, get their life forms. But equal, it's not exactly ideal unless you both only have like 2 RTs or something. In which case, you have plenty of room to still do stuff. And it looks like we're going to see a push into base here. We have Bruno, Rising, and Zaloka all moving into base. Phase gate is also up, and there are plenty of mines, so they just better watch out. Ail's mine actually blows up Flow. So they're just going to have to be careful. It looks like we're going to have a couple there trying to go and pinch the phase, but they're all, you know, pretty much all the life forms are able to get out of there no problem. Since Fisk is still a Gorge, he's still quite a ways from being an Onos, which is his, you know, typical life form. And again, I'm seeing some weird stuttering going on here, which I think is probably just the fact that the connection has to go across an ocean and, you know, continent or so. I have no idea where this in Australia the server is located. Hopefully the players aren't really having that much of a problem, but so far nobody's complained as of yet. Having 3 shotguns pushing forward into here in Mez, and that's Fisk goes forward, he being brave. Oh, and we are going to see a pause. Okay. Wonder what's going on. As you can take a look at the pings here, you can see that everybody had pretty high pings, at least at the time of pause. Looks like it does update still. Okay, one of them still one of them was having some red plugging, it sounds like. But if you look at the pings, you can see that pretty much everyone on Over.Extension, aside from Bruno, who is like practically sitting on the server, does have quite high ping. It'll be the case again whenever they move to the North American server, which should be for Descent. At least I'm assuming that is what is going to be happening. All right. So unpause. We're going to continue on to this with the three Marines pushing in. Loam blinks forward. I think he might have been in the middle of blinking when it paused. I was sure there for a moment that right before the pause that we would have seen Fisk getting completely destroyed as the Gorge. It isn't that important right now for the Gorge to still be up. I mean, they got the hive built. You can see it's all built over there. It's just a matter of waiting for the other upgrade. They have not chosen the other upgrade yet. But since they have arcs, I'm assuming they're gonna see that arc and then be like, Shade Hive, right now, make it happen. And just right now, let's see. If we look at the map, we could see that we have a Lurk and a Fade swatting at an RT. We have Rising working on res. I mean, right now, Fisk needs to lose his Gorge and go kill some res. I mean, he's not really doing anything right now. They need to have Parsnip getting out of the hive and getting his res, so that way when they start arcing stuff, like they are now. Yeah, there goes the Shade Hive. There goes Bile Bomb. They need to have Parsnip out of the hive so that way he can be a Gorge and he can do the Bile Bombing while everybody else, you know, flails around and does stuff. We're seeing Rising moving into base, but however, bad timing. That's when Oldwick just appeared with his shotgun. And they're just going to kill all that PvE that's there. Fisk is trying really desperately to try and keep that alive. And at this point, yeah, moving some of that PvE out of there so that way it's going to, you know, stay alive is probably the wiser decision. Actually moving the shift up so that way it could possibly, you know, give Fisk more energy. It looks like he is within range of it. Bile Bomb is done now. He could just start biling them. Meanwhile, we're seeing two pushing towards the starting hive over there in Warehouse. He's actually going to retreat in the tunnel. There's actually two Marines following him in. Bruno goes down, though. Not able to quite make it around the boxes. You can see Parsnip jumped out, but it was a little bit too late. Meanwhile, they're just able to go and just no problem clean up this whole little area over here by Mezzanine. Moving the shift over was, as I said, kind of pointless once they decided that the Gorge was going to go away. It looks like Fisk died in the tunnel, I think. So lots of explosions going on over here as the arcs clean up stuff, and it looks like we're seeing some more whips being built. They really need that shade up. They need a shade up somewhere. What's that? Crag or something? They need a shade up. That needs to be priority number one, is getting a shade up so that way they could you know, cloak that whole mess. And they do have 5 RTs though, and look at that. Intent. Bloop. Just all their res got nuked while they were arcing. While they're busy in hub and in well, pretty much everywhere. Rising went through it. I'm assuming it was mostly Rising and possibly Zoloko as well, just going around and just making all the res evaporate. So yeah, okay, they took Mez, but they lost everything else. They're at two RTs. Sure, at this point they have armor 2 weapons 2, which is a pretty good place to be in, but at the moment if they lose their shotguns, they aren't going to get that res back particularly quickly. You can see there's whips being built here as well. They're getting ready to lock down repair. I mean, yeah, sure, there's some arcs, and it looks like they're going to be wheeling those arcs up here to possibly take out ore pop, because it looks like they're going over to the side here. So they're going to try and take out the ore RT with the arcs. And if they're sitting there guarding the arcs, that's still, it's leaving so much room open for Bruno to go and bite an RT. Looks like he took a shotgunner down as well, but that's close enough to base they might be able to recap that. And that whip is actually doing some work. It's actually hitting something, but here comes Zoloko to help out as well. And since that Craig is there, they can just, you know, heal that up. Look at all these whips. All this PvE. It's like PvE City. Bleh. In Flow and Ale, again, being the little 2-man pressure team. Parsnip just like, or, no, that was Rising. I apologize. Rising just like, you know, dives right into them. Power's down now and repairs as well to help slow them down, trying to recap that. I mean, you can see that just how little, oops. How little res they still have. They're down to 2 again. They have the one over here in observation, which Fisk is going to go chomp on. Finally getting the veils up, though. Meanwhile, Zoloko's probably going to go down here unless he ducks around. Okay, he does get out. I was wondering if he was going to take the little ledge like right up here to try and dodge out of the line of fire faster. But he was able to get out, no problem. Nobody really chased him. Oh, that's nice. 2 shotguns down. If Bruno's able to win this engagement, that's going to be pretty much 2 shotguns down for sure. And an RT. That's some pretty hefty res loss considering they're on 2 RTs. And even just building that RT in, what's it, Lachi? That's slowing down their ability to recap. I mean, even if you know that it's like not gonna happen. Where's the shade, Parsnip? Where's the shade? They're getting their main hive is getting arc. The one that is holding, most of their biomass. There is no shade here. They have a shade hive, but no shade. But we have two Onai. We have Rising and Fisk both up as Onos right now. Zoloko can as well. Well, pretty soon, but he did take an upgrade, so that would be why he is not up as an Onos yet. Fisk, oh, that was his hallucination that got really low there. The Onai already are pretty hurt at this point. All those shells are also really low, so they really need to take down those arcs ASAP. That does get taken down. Build the shade, somebody. Somebody build that shade. It needs to exist. I mean, if you're going to put the effort into going Shade Hive, when there are arcs, which should be, something you should probably do if you have the opportunity. Okay. Nope, that's a Crag. It's something that you should probably do. If you're getting arced and you have the ability to pick a Hive upgrade at that time, go Shade. And you can, use a Shade and stop the arcs from killing you as fast, or killing your base as fast. Seeing both the Onai and the Lyric moving in there. Umbra is done, so Zoloko needs to realize that and start using Umbra ASAP before he dies, because that would be bad. The Hallucination's also joining the mix there. Zoloko getting very low, but he's able to dodge out. So he's going to go back and heal, and they're going to converge on the gate meanwhile. Tommy Gun's hiding over on the box on that side, so he's pretty much ready to... he's going to get chased after by Rising. And here is this giant alien, alien versus marine massacre. Okay, it looks like they will probably get that gate down. Fisk ran out, but then decided to come back and help finish the gate, and they're going to be able to get out of there. I mean, that's a huge amount of map position loss. I mean, looking down here, okay, they do have two IPs, but everybody's dead, and they have to go and try and get that position back on the map. Zoloko's actually going to start working on the power there, along with Loam kind of just guiding, or floating around the area, checking out what's coming. Taking a look at the P-Res for the Marines at this point. A couple shotguns can be afforded, but it's not that great. They're going to start on an AA. I'm assuming that'll be probably towards HMGs. But at this point, it's kind of late for that. I mean, they need to kill life forms. If Intent wants to be able to try to pull this back, they need to go and be like, hey, look, an Onos, let's kill it, and then actually kill it. But, that's easier said than done at times. Okay, so let's take a look here. We have one Onos scooting down the left side of the map. I'm not quite sure where he's going to end up going, but we see some blinking down in base, and that'd be Rising. Had gone down there and was poking at them and distracting them. The gate is back up in hub, along with the power, quite obviously. The Arc Lab, or Arc Factory, Robo Lab, whatever, thingy, is also powered back up, but they don't have enough res to really, pump out arcs again. They are going to beacon, but at this point, Rising is probably going to end up... Alright, we have Zoloko up as an Onos now as well. It's pretty much over. You get 3 Onai, and as long as you have them go and kill everything, it's pretty much going to be done. So all the aliens in the base, 3 Onai, it's done. I mean, just that ability for them to lock down the top half of the map. Let's take a quick look at the res graph. You could see they locked down the top half of the map, and with all that PvE, and then they just didn't really lose it the entire rest of the game. And I can't switch the tabs now because the banner went up. So, a relatively strong first round there for Over.Extension. Excuse me one moment, though. But yeah, I mean, it didn't cost them that much. It almost lost them a couple shells, but trying to make sure that, as I said, if you have a Shade Hive and there are arcs on the field, you should probably just set up preemptively as if they're going to arc your important stuff. Whether it be put a Crag there, put a Shade there, put both of them there. Sure, by all means, put some obnoxious cysts in areas where they're going to have to roll those arcs. So they have to spend the time to clear them, or the arcs will move at like, -2 miles an hour. Also a good thing to do, but we'll just have to see how it goes. I mean, that was a very strong round in Over.Extension's favor. However, there is the fact that, just based on You know, the game I saw that I casted earlier today between Singularity and, oh gosh, I'm already forgetting. Alfear, that's who it was. Singularity and Alfear, it was all alien wins. So it's always a question of if it's just teams not being as strong at Marine, or if they are more confident at Alien, or what. I think the problem that I think has been happening on Tram is that the Marines aren't pushing enough. They aren't successfully pushing enough. Like that first push up into platform was a great idea, except for there were four aliens around. That, yeah, a good idea for intent. Just, there was the kind of the problem with overextension being set up ready to demolish anything that came up to platform. So they couldn't account for that. But once you got the gorge tunnel up there with the crag and like whip and all that nonsense, it just gets really hard to try and take them out of Mez. They did take down a few RTs here and there, but it was like it was Mez or it was Ord. It never pushed. They never were able to go through and really clear out server. And it's just that ability to go through and actually clean up that area, is part of what allowed Overextension to just continue on and just demolish everything in the end. I mean, and once they had the arcs out and you had to sit there and guard those arcs, well, okay, yes, it's nice to be able to have the arcs. You don't have to worry about fighting the PvE that had been set up in, giant, gardens of obnoxiousness. But, the arcs are, a good thing to clear that out. That's what they're there for, is to kill the PvE. But the problem is that they had, then everybody had to go babysit the arcs. Once you're off babysitting the arcs in the phase gate, well, then you have to deal with the fact that, you're stuck with, all your res is getting obliterated. So I don't know whether arcing out Mez was necessarily the best idea. Maybe it would have been better to go and try and really secure over an ore. Because then if you look at the map, if they'd had the hub gate, here, and they had they put an ore gate somewhere over here, and then they close off this whole chunk of the map, basically, this whole little chunk, and probably can hold on to observation too. I mean, if they're doing a good job at blocking the lanes, you can pretty much, instead of just closing off that little section, you could take like that whole chunk of the map. And it's just arcing Mez from hub. I mean, it's an RT. It's one RT, and you have to go through it to get to server. But it looks like here we're going to move on into round 2. So let's see how this goes. Other way around. This time, intent starting as aliens in 5 seconds here. Alright, so this time they get a server spawn. Doesn't look like there's any gorge so far from them. Meanwhile, down here, it looks like no mines or anything like that. Just going to go arm slab and get the heck out of base. 2 going up towards hub. And kind of a similar setup, except for it looks like we're seeing 2 going into observation. Meanwhile, Bruno and Loam are meeting up with Ale, Flo, and Kartoshka. They finally decide they're going to push through the door, but of course they're both parasites. They know exactly where they are, and they both get destroyed. I think that was probably a bad decision to push in. I mean, it might have just been a better idea to just hold on, cap those sides, and let observation just, move on forward. He's still being stared at, whoever that is. That's Fisk over there, no observation. He's going to have Tommy guns just jump down and just rip his head off. So much for that. Anyway, the aliens currently have pretty much control of hub at this point. I mean, it's going to be clear for them to just continue on and harass the naturals. I mean, look, Logi got left open, so they're going to have 2 aliens just sitting in Logi at the moment. Sure, they're sending another 2 back up, but just the fact that they didn't have anybody there in hub means that Rising is going to try and run as fast as his little marine feet can take him all the way back to try and clear those skulks off of that RT. At this point, it's probably not going to be very successful. They are going to lose the RT. 1 skulk down. Rising's fighting Kartoshka, and he does end up going down, leaving a little bit of health back on that particular skulk. Tommy Gun's also moving to base. Looks like we're maybe going to have a little bit of base harassment going on here. Loam is chasing after him as well. That's pulling a Marine back. Rising's alive again. If he can just land the right bullets on the right Marines, they can, or the right Marine, the right skulk, they could clear him out, which they do. You can see it's just assisted right now. It doesn't have that crazy PvE as you saw on the previous round. But at this point, you can... Oh, they're just going to get annihilated. They are not letting them have any chance whatsoever of clearing platform. Intent pulls basically everyone that was in the vicinity to come back and clear that out. Now that it looks like the 4 of those skulks, or at least 2 of them, are probably going to... 3 of them, sorry. Oldwick was already there. Are going to go try and clear Zoloko out of ore. They're both chipped, though. However, Ale is able to do that. And they finally drop the Harvester there in warehouse because it's under no threat whatsoever. Weapons 1 has been started, and they'll be... doing a little bit more damage there. Looks like upgrade. 1 shell's up so far as well. So getting a couple upgrades here and there. It's a little bit of damage here and there with the parasites. Second shell is up. Seeing Bruno's creeping up towards platform. He's killing cysts with his pistol. Keeping his LMG full of happy bullets that can be used for killing the obnoxious skulks. Tommy Guns is up as Lurk. They're a little bit split here. Zoloko, and it's probably going to go down. Nope, never mind. Meds save him. Here comes Ale running back in. He lands a couple bites, but ends up going down. So Tommy Guns is... We'll have to see if he's solo Lurk or if there's going to be another one. But at this point, taking a look at the res graph, there have been 2 RTs down so far for, of Over.Extension's extractors, nothing else. Oldwick pretty much now trapped in that little vent system over in the side there. Looks like they're going to set up to try and clear him. Alright, we have Flow up as the other Lurk now. And they clear them out of platform, and let's see if this group rotates. They obviously do know that there's something up there in warehouse, and it's just Rising who's running the heck away. He's going to try and hide around the corner, but I think at this point they all knew he couldn't have gotten very far, so they're able to clear him up no problem. They've already resisted. And we'll have to see what happens here, but it looks like it's going to be some res getting annihilated. Fiskbit hiding around a corner. Gets a lot of damage there on Ale. It should be pretty easy for him to clean up if he can land the bullets. I don't know. I have to see how the he does with the ping, but he is able to take down Ale, and Flo is able to clean him up. Both Lurks now on the left side of the map, which should leave the right side reasonably open. This is going to be 2 RTs going down at the same time for Over.Extension. Bruno's moving in. He almost takes down Flo. Flo has like no health, but he goes in the event and dies to Rising's pistol. Almost out of vision, but probably just barely nicked the edge of a wing there. So just Tommy Guns, he better not lose his Lurk, but obviously that, having 1 Lurk is just 1 Lurk at, Okay, it's still a little ways to fades actually, so it might hurt them a little bit more. They really need to make sure that they stay on top of the res. Shotguns are done at this point, and phase gates are partway through. You're seeing Rising and Bruno moving up through into warehouse. Meanwhile, down here in ET, we're seeing Loam just kind of hiding, or I think he was he on the stairway? Too late now. Anyway, he gets cleared out of ET by AOL and Flo. And Zoloko gets parasited and almost takes out AOL. But I think at this point it's just going to be a little bit of a standoff, and it's going to end up with the Skulk retreating elsewhere. So it looks like Zoloko was probably backing up to try and go clear something, but he's going to run into the remaining Lurk, Tommy Guns. He takes out Kartushka. We'll have to see. I mean, because at this point they're at 32. They're at 32 res, so it's close enough to fades now that Zoloko just needs to serve. Or not. Sorry, wrong freaking game. Reading stuff on the side. Tommy Guns needs to survive and just wait for the rest of whoever there's going to be fade to just show up. And obviously at this point, there's enough for, there's a couple of shotguns on the field. Let's see, who are they? Rising and Bruno. So one of them's in this mess. Zoloko being the LMG. And they're just going right after him. They take down Bruno, and they're able to take down Zoloko as well. Oldwick actually takes out Ale in that chaos, and they're going to be able to bite down that gate, no problem. Actually, it's going to get recycled. But they're gonna clear up ore, and that launching point is gonna be so great. So Fisk and Loam are both working over here in Hub to try and get the power up. Rising with a shotgun, backing up a little bit. It looks like. I'm not quite sure where he's gonna be going, but he might be moving back just so in planning to go through the phase gate as soon as it's up. Loam actually pulling possibly a little bit too far forward there, if somebody came through, he'd be really easy to, like, hit from the side. We do have a fade up. That would be Aol. And we'll have to see who's going to be the second one. Just moving in for a couple quick swipes, but he better watch out for Rising, because he just came in from the ET side. He actually gets taken out by Flo there, who then gets taken out by Zloco. Looking at this, it looks like Oldwick will be the other fade. Kartoshka hiding in the vent there, waiting as Bruno goes around so that he can pop out the vent and go back, go chomp away at that RT. Taking a quick look at the res graph, you see there's been, a reasonable amount of damage done to the RTs. They've gone down 6 RTs in almost 8 minutes, so not a bad rate. However, Intent is still sitting at 5 RTs, so it's gonna, I guess Kartoshka is going to be the Onos in this. So he's doing pretty well as far as, slowly approaching his end game type of thing there. Both the fades taking, reasonable enough damage to make them leave. Yes, okay, they have a nice launching position here in hub, but the real thing to keep in mind is the fact that the ore gate is up now. The ore gate is up. There are 4 shotgunners in there, and the hive is still being grown. Lucas is a gorge, and he was healing that up. They don't have bile bomb, so they can't, just bile down the hallway at that. Aol's able to take out one of the shotgunners, so now there's only 2. But at this point, they'll have to decide whether they're going to be arcing or what. They don't have any res, though. They literally have no res. While that was all going on, the res got melted. They really need to make sure that... I think it's then an issue of lane blocking. You could see how if they're able to just have somebody stay in hub and actually just keep an eye on that. You can see at the moment, there's, aliens floundering around everywhere. And heck, Flo's going to go work on the power and repair, really be a jerk. It looks like they currently are going to have 3 off gates. This is a good opportunity that if they group up and know this, they can just move in, pick off Rising, and nobody's going to be on gates to do anything about it. A little bit of crazy warping there. Oldwick getting out with, not much health left. Looks like hub gate is going to be pretty much safe. So there was an opportunity there, potentially, but it just didn't turn out that way. They do have the hive up now in warehouse. And Rising's just kind of waiting there. Alright, look, I think... sorry. They get a shotgun back, but they really need a recap. There's just no question they need to grab 2 people, have them recap, and have everybody else just sit on gates and lane block, and just, not let anything get by. They need to block Mez, they need to block... Oh, there goes Loam. He gets taken down by Kartoshka, who's going to go join Flo down here in Logi, and they're just going to take the power down. This is just a good example of them not having, the lane blocking down, at least at this point. They shouldn't be able to have the skulks getting through. Okay, they just has this Rising phases through. I was going to say, and ore gate is also undefended. But they need to be able to try and block over here, because that's, the only way in. Yeah, sure, you could just have somebody sitting where, Bruno is right now, just kind of watching, staying within line of sight of the gate, staying within line of sight of his buddy over here, Lom, and making sure to keep aliens out of the lower half of the map. But since they aren't doing that, and they are also not really keeping they aren't keeping the control on this, whole area between Logi and Repair, which is allowing aliens into where they shouldn't be. Seeing Aol just kind of going up and hiding in the vent. So it's just somehow wherever they're positioning at the time, either Intent is doing a really good job in knowing exactly where to be at the right time, and thus getting through the, wall of Marines, or just it's a little bit too scattered on Over.Extension's part. There, you see Flo scooting along into South Tunnels, and for some reason, the what's going to be the Arc Factory is going in down here at the main base. The problem with this is that, of course, no matter where you're taking that, those arcs are going to have to go a long way. And if you remember back, I believe it was either Season 3 or the lead up to the NS2WC, where I guess it was Singularity versus Blue Babbler Squad, I think, with John of Arc, where they went 1 arc at the beginning of the game, and rolled that thing around through the whole match. It took like a million years for that stupid little tank thingy to go anywhere. But they had a strat plan for that, and just I don't think that having they're actually sending Max out to go do some of the welding. I mean, there we are. We did skip back just in time to see Oldwick go down, and Ael's also in a bit of trouble there. He is kind of low on health, but we have Kartushka up as Onos now. Lucas in a little bit of danger as Gorge, but not too bad. He's able to get back around the box there. No problem in the end. Looking at the list, let's see. It's going to be a little while before anybody else is able to go Onos as well. Part of the problem here, of course, as I said, it's going to take forever for both those Max to actually do stuff. I mean, yes, okay, sure. They're doing stuff which, means that the Marines don't have to do it. But on the other hand, they should have been able to hold these lanes. This is a very easy map to lane block on, and there's obviously some holes in the Over.Extension's positioning that intent at this point. Look at this, they're just walloping ore. It's gonna evaporate. We have two Marines scooting over into mezzanine. Flo's coming over to investigate. Just taking a peek, getting Perez. And just generally, here comes the giant group moving in towards the hub. There's also the cis chain, this cis chain that shouldn't be here. That's one of those things. If you're blocking hub properly, this cis chain should never end up being grown. Somebody should stop with a welder, just kill the stupid thing, and call it good. I mean, but they were able to grow an entire extractor there. I mean, they did not go shift hive, at least as far as yeah, they didn't go shift hive, so it's not like they echoed it in. There was enough time to send a drifter in there and grow the silly thing. And at this point, they've lost most of their map control, and so it's probably going to end up going in Intent's favor just because they lost so much of that res. I mean, they were doing okay up to about 4 minutes, and then it just got on this downhill slope, and they've been trying to hold on to what res they've had, but it's not exactly the greatest position at this point. Again, more Max going everywhere. Okay, that's a Gorge tunnel, not a Mac. And the Max, of course, they also take res. It's not like they're free. Marines with LMGs are free. Marines with welders are 3 res, unless they, loot somebody's corpse, in which case then they're free also. But the Max cost res. The Robo, of course, cost res. And if you have the Robo, you kind of need to be using it to arc, not to have Max. If you have Max, that should be, addition to... in addition to arcs, in addition to turrets. But the main thing that you're probably going to be aiming for in order to win games is the arcs. Those are those things that you can just go and sit back and wait for everything to die. But it looks like we're going to see the base rush moving in here. Or maybe Kardoshka? Where are you going, dude? Alright. So they're going to move in and they're just going to go right on the gate. Here comes the Onos. He's going to be able to pick off, looks like Zoloko first, then over towards Fisk. Tommy Guns got very low, but he's just coming back to Umbra at random. They're going to beacon everybody back, so they should just get out. Almost got the arms lab. Flo needs to stay on that. I think he got it. He did get it. He needs to get out. They lost the Gorge, and the Lurk, for some reason, has decided to go all the way through, and he gets picked off. I think he would have been better off just leaving. I mean, they just should abandon ship. They got the arms lab. That'll slow them down. That's another 20 res they can't afford at the moment. Yeah, they went for the... That's a bad decision. They went for the gate instead of the arms lab. But then again, they're only at armor 1, weapon 1. So, at least I think that's armor 1, weapon 1. It's hard. It's even harder to see when you have... when it's all red and canceled out. Okay, they got the gate back up. I don't know. I would have gone for the arms lab first. Said, screw the gate. Just run out there, guys. Because it's much more important to get your armor back than it is to... get the gate, because if they came back and you have no armor, well, it's going to be a kind of a short game. But yeah, I don't think that bothering with a Max is really at all cost efficient. It's just another sink for your res. It's, it's all this money that you can't spend on your Marines and you can't spend on the upgrades. I don't know how many arcs that they have lost at this point, but I know they had at least 3 at some point, and I only see 1 wandering around right now. I mean, really, if you think you're gonna be using, if you're gonna bother building a robo, just build it somewhere where you can set up the arcs. After all, if they see the arcs or they see the robo anyway, they're gonna know that the arcs are probably gonna happen. So you might as well just make them happen faster. And of course, they have the hive now here in repair. It's almost half grown at this point. But Zalok was gonna get trampled by an Onos, and hey, here's Flo as an Onos as well. So that means that the looks like Oldwick went lurk. Trying to take a look here, and Tommy Guns can also go Onos. Since he did finally die, so he's jumping into the egg right now, so he'll be back in time to come 3 Onos to win. Let's see, where is he? Is he at this hive? There he is, there's the 3rd Onos. And that'll just be pretty much it for this game. Because it's, unless you're able to go and just catch these Oni way out of position, it's really easy to just go and be like, hey, get 2 Oni on the power and have 1 fight. Your power goes away, thus go all your upgrades. And then you just, you know, annihilate all the Marines that possibly beaconed back while you were killing everything. And you fight it out, and you win. Or alternately, if they beacon back and they're a little bit too soon before you can get the power down, you kill them all with the Oni. And then you take the power down and you win. Or you take the IPs down and you win. Some combination of 3 Oni equals win. But they just need to group up, which they aren't doing at this point. You see the power just got socketed there, so I'm curious to see what they're going to be bothering with that, if they're bothering at all. You can see Parsnip has it selected right now, so I guess he's told Fisk to build that up for something. But I can't think of what would be a good to like actually put there, because look at how much of the map is pretty much under alien control. It's 90% of it. It's everything north of these little, this is all alien control. This is alien land, aside from the fact that the ET extractor is still up. That actually gives them 4 res, and... Aha, what have we got building up here? We have a gate building up there, and all the Marines are there. But they don't have any... The gate is up. I was kind of hoping that while they had everybody running up to try and get that gate, that they would have, everybody, all the aliens, all of intent, just going down to base and just mashing that gate into a pile of rubble. Because that would be a prime time to do a reverse grind gate, because it's like, oh look, you can't do anything, because guess what? Or you can't port back without a beacon, because guess what? We just, ripped your gate to tiny pieces of metal. Loam jumps through the gate, rising. Here comes everyone. They're deciding to get the heck out. There's only 2 Oni in this group, though. Where's the 3rd? Oh, he's up. Flo's up here just being obnoxious and trying to break the armory wall. They did armory wall themselves in there, so they have this little, tiny room all to themselves. So Flo's gonna get out of there. And look at this. There's cysts everywhere. Nobody's cleaning up the cysts. Okay, it looks like Rising's stopping to clean up that one. But just at this point, it's way too late to be able to do anything. I mean, they have their 3rd hive up now. It's going shift hive. There's the robo. But at this point, I mean, they have it walled in, so it's not like they could go and necessarily take out the Oni, because they can't get in. Instead, we have an Umbra Lurk and 3 Oni just waiting outside. The problem is that, of course, they can hear them. Or can they? Yeah, they can. They all went for Aura instead of Silence. It would have been almost pretty amusing to go for Silence instead and just, sneak up on them. There aren't any Oni here. Alright, so they've all just gone through and obliterated everybody there, so they're going to work on the gate next. And they're just going to GG. Yeah, it's been over for a little while. But it seems as though the main issue here is probably just the fact that they can't seem to get... I'm guessing just can't get the lane blocking right. They can't get the little bit of up here, they can't control hub as well as they should be able to. So I'm guessing we are going to be going to a US server, as is proper when you're playing across such huge distances. I mean, yes, technically you can choose a middle range server, like if you have a primarily West Coast US team and you're playing, European teams, picking an East Coast US server gives everybody about 100 ping. It's pretty okay. Alright, so we're going to an LA server. I'm going to wait for these guys to join up so that way I can just, connect to them, because it's much easier. Alright, let's see. Who's going to be the first one on there? Alright, he's still in there. I'm just going to wait for Fisk to connect and then connect off of him. So, yeah, I think that one definitely could have gone better for Overextension. It looked like they had... a fairly good start, but just they weren't able to keep those skulks off of their backrest, and then they never recapped it. And when they finally realized, oh wait, we need to recap, they were getting slaughtered by fades. So it's like they weren't keeping, when it was much easier to keep aliens out of the naturals, they weren't keeping the aliens out of the naturals. When it was much harder to keep the aliens out of the naturals, they, of course, just got destroyed. And thus became the slow decline in, such things. I obviously don't agree with putting the robo in Marine Start and then just building Max. If you're going to build, as I said, if you're going to build a robo, build it for arcs. Anything else is probably not worth it if you aren't doing it in combination with arcs. I mean, if you're building a robo and you're going to, if you're going to say you're building it for sentries, you're probably going to build it sentries somewhere, and then you could put the arcs down behind it and arc out whatever the heck you want. Like that's commonly seen on Vale in like East Junction. If you're going to go build a robo there, you put down the sentries, and then you park the arcs behind the sentries so they can't get chomped on, and that, makes everything basically get annihilated. Let's see, do we have people on the right server yet? New game info. All right. Switching servers. All right. So obviously with Descent, I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see Shade Hive on this. I know that I'm not quite sure what the I'm not quite sure what the Australian teams like doing on Descent. I know that that NA teams, at least some of them, like trying Shade Hive on. This is one of the like Shade Hive approved maps kind of thing. I mean, it's big. Not many people play it. They don't know all the little hidey holes, and it's a lot easier then to go and get some nice attacks on people. All right, so we're gonna wait for these guys to join up, and I will give them their appropriate score, which is both alien wins. This may be the theme for tonight. Who knows? It would be nice to see a round go to Marines at some point. I mean, it's not even necessarily an issue of like, a lot of times where people would be like, oh my god, aliens are overpowered. It's like, it's not the thing. It's just the Marines aren't like doing the things necessary to be able to finish a game. If they were able to go and finish the game, I mean, especially the rounds earlier today, there was one where it's like, okay, it looks like, I don't even remember, oh, it was Elfir was ahead on Descent as Marines, and they had, they'd really locked Singularity down into Drone Bay, and it just looked like it was pretty much over, and it was going to be, a slow grind to Singularity's doom. Except for the fact that they just weren't able to, once Singularity was able to lock down RT, they were able to hold on to that RT. And thus were able to slowly accumulate res and ended up winning the round. Sorry, it's a spoiler, but it's a really great example of what it's just like they almost have it. But it's like I was trying to see what they're saying. Anyway, it's like they almost have it, and then they don't, and then it just falls flat. But so it's just a matter of, I think it's just an issue of people not knowing how to finish the games. And that seems to be an ongoing issue of how do we finish this stupid thing? At least as far as, teams outside of Premier. Okay, we're at this good spot, and we know that we're doing awesome. Now what do we do? And then by the time they figure out what the heck they're doing, aliens have melted their res, and they're back to sitting around on their thumbs going, yeah, we almost had that, and then we threw the game. Of course, it's always possible for if the aliens have ended up clawing their way back, that they could also throw the game, and then you're ending up on this crazy back and forth, Game of Throws war, where it drags on for a million years and is somewhat is either entertaining or making you want to bash your skull in, because you could, of course, here from spec, you can see all the different ways that things could have been fixed. Where you can see, it's the times where you can see the Fade darting around the corner with 2% HP, and you're just like, oh my god, one more bullet. Why didn't that happen? So, alright, so we've got, most people in here. Looks like Bruno's sitting in spec, or not spec, in the ready room. Alright, and there is the last intent player. Oops, not two. 2 alien wins. Fixed it. There we go, sorry. I just was like, aliens! Click twice. Alright, so there, now that I'm done being dumb as far as that goes. Of course, for anyone who didn't know, there are a lot of games going on tomorrow. There's, I'm going to be casting Titus versus Godar. There's going to be I think there's going to be pretty much one of every division aside from Div 1 tomorrow, at the very least. There's like 5 matches or so. I don't know, you could check NSL.org. They're all listed up on there and theoretically have the right times. There's one that may be somewhat questionable time-wise because theoretically Europe has their daylight saving time change thingy tonight. So, that always confuses things for the first week or so because people are used to doing old time zone math. But theoretically, if it's actually at the time that theoretically it's listed as the right time. If it's not, it'll be an hour later, so it's not like you're going to miss it. You'll just show up and they'll be like, oh, sorry, it's in an hour, and then it'll be in an hour. Alright, so we got one person needing to be approved as a merc. Alright, there we go. I remember last time, or one of the last times I casted, there was issues with approved mercs. And the issue turned out to be that it needed to be plural. So I think that at this point everybody knows that it has to be plural. Because that's always a fun thing to, have casted is, issues with commands. Oh wait, it needs an S on the end. Easy enough. So now that we're take another look here at the pings, you can see they've sort of pretty much reversed. I have really nice ping. I have 23. The server's practically in my backyard. Looks like Lucas, who has his name obviously 3G Lucas, so he is obviously on some pretty bad internet, theoretically. I feel bad for him. But we'll see if we end up with Over.Extension going Shade Hive. As I said, this is one that, is sort of Shade approved. I mean, it isn't one of the main maps that people will rotate through. If you're doing Pugs or whatever, you're mostly going to end up rotating through, Tram, Summit, Vale, and Zombie. It's going to be the main maps that you're going to rotate through forever. And then when somebody suggests Descent, half the people will be like, oh man, why are we doing Descent? Or Biodome, we'll say about 1/3 of the people will be like, oh my god, why are we doing Biodome? But, so it's not exactly one of the favorite ones. It has some issues, well, what some people would consider issues at the very least, which would be these vents. So if we end up with the spawns the way they are right now, you'll probably end up seeing mines from the Marines. If they end up over in launch control, you almost certainly will see mines, I think, because just that vent I don't know, at least to me as a player, it feels like that vent right here, oops, okay, I'll just move the camera over. This vent right here is just a lot more vicious than the one, it's friend on this side. Where is it? Where's that vent? It's over here. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't dump you quite out into the Marine base the way that this one does. Sorry, I have to clip through a wall here. You can see, I mean, that just dumps you right outside their base. I mean, it just feels like it's a lot more of a vicious vent than the other one. We're actually going to get going into round 3 here of Intent versus Over.Extension. So let's see what spawns are going to end up here and what's going to happen in 5 seconds. Oh, well, I was just talking about those vents. And we do see an arms lab and a second IP being dropped, so that's a fairly expensive, thing to start out with as far as that goes. Seeing Bruno and Zloka moving down the south. We're seeing Rising and Loam kind of moving into the center part of the map. Timmy Guns and Old Wick building up the RT there in Plaza. Nice open room there, so I'm pretty sure that if Rising moves in, it'll probably only get some parasites and then abandon ship. Meanwhile, we're seeing some actual... Oh, nope, just parasites down here in gravity. They have a nice little choke point here to try and force the Marines to come through, or force the Skulks to come through, depending on who decides to take the first step there. Mines are now done. You can actually see Loam was hanging out right here by the vent. He's going to get his upgrade. Looks like Bruno's going to be heading into... Nope, just Loam. He's sneaking in. I'm sure you can hear the mines. He actually gets some parasites there on Katoshka and Oldwick. You can see there's a lot of nice mines right around that IP, right around the other IP in the arms lab. Or not the arms lab, the armory. Had one go down. Looks like 2 people go down right there outside of gravity. More mines. Sounds like... Oh, no. You're just hearing them from way over there. That's a lot of mines. They're saying you are not coming into this freaking room. If you come into this room, you're going to turn into Skulk confetti. So they're just going to bite that RT down. And then Flo will maybe get taken down here. Loam is finally able to escape. Barely. And they did go Shade Hub. You can see the 3 veils are already up, and Zloke was silent. Loam is also silent, so that'll make it much harder. Because obviously in comp mod, the camouflage and silence are split. I mean, so they have to pick one, and for the most part, people will end up going silent because obviously if you end up, let's see if somebody could actually have that happen, that would be amazing. Like if, oh yes, he might actually be doing this. Like if he goes through the vent here and these guys had actually moved up to like say where Bruno is right now. I mean, you could just like run up behind them, and if they aren't paying attention to their mini map, you could just like run up behind them and, you know, bite them in the butt and kill them. So obviously, since as of a while ago, they definitely know that this is a Shade Hive they're going to have to go deal with. They're probably going to have to go for Armor 2 as fast as possible to make up for the fact that they can't hear the Skulks coming. So much of this game is just knowing that, you know, stuff is going to show up. And, yeah, just from, like, audio cues. Obviously, Fisk is a Gorge again. He went and got the tunnel up here in Drum Bay. One of the other options would be to move the tunnels to just the naturals and maybe start scooting them up, depending on how long the Gorge survives. Zoloko here is probably not going to survive, though, unless Kartoshka misses all of his bullets, which he ends up... Here, he really only needed to land 1 bullet on Zoloko. He's alive. Here comes the armor one. And Power's already down in gravity. Bruno's hiding right up there on one of the glowy blue things. Just waiting for something to happen. He moved over to the other one. And obviously Tommy Guns, I'm pretty sure he has to know that Bruno's in there. Have to see if he ends up landing this ambush. He's sneaking over the top of that thing and he jumps down. He actually wins that. Good job for Tommy Guns. Meanwhile, Flo moved in through water treatment right over there. One of the issues that comes up with the fact that if you do have, you know, a tunnel up, is you don't send people through that room as much. If you don't send people through that room as much, there's kind of the issue that somebody could just walk on in and put up a phase gate or, you know, something like that. Because, well, you aren't going in there. You aren't going to see it, are you? Anyway, we're seeing 2 over here in, 2 of the Over.Extension guys. They end up cleaning up, AOL. Meanwhile, down here, it looks like oh, he moved it. That's what was happening. Yep, he was moving it up, so they're kind of walking the tunnels up now. However, that will delay his Onos. Every time he moves the tunnels, that will delay the Onos. However, with rising up as a lurk and as well as Zoloko, they need to work together and try and clean all that out, or clean all the Marines out of pretty much everywhere. They need to recap over in observation. Zoloko moves in, misses bites, and then gets the heck out. Rising, also going to move in. He gets 1 bite, 2 bite, and he's able to clean that up, no problem. They'll go take care of that extractor. So it looks like Fisk gets to go be a drifter, basically. Meanwhile, there's kind of some issues. It's a lot of nice heavy PvE going on from Over.Extension this time. And it definitely seems to be helping them out. I mean, it's the whole thing. They're locking down the res. Aside from that one that kind of got lost in observation is now being rebuilt. They definitely would, if they aren't planning on walking through that room as much, they need to get some, like a whip or something and just put it like somewhere in that general vicinity just so that way they don't have to worry about it. It'll be their early warning system. So anyway, Tommy Gunn's standing in a very nice position in the room. They're, no matter where the aliens come from, he can pretty much see them. He knows that Zloko's there, and Zloko's just going to have to give up and exit because, well, that's a long distance. I mean, yes, sure, he's a lurk, and lurks are pretty fast. But if they know that you're coming, well, there's going to be a lot of time for bullets to, start being shot in your general direction. Anyway, they're going to bite down that. Meanwhile, we have Marines grouping up sort of in the north side of the map. Looks like we're going to have 3 showing up here in fabrication. Looks like they're going to just continue on. They're parasited, but we're seeing a good push into base here. And Bruno hitting that mine, I was surprised it didn't, hit Rising for more damage than it did. It only gave him a little bit of chip damage, and then he was able to retreat. I mean, if that had basically been placed just right, or if I guess there might have been more like vertical axis distance between them than it looked like from the overview, but that could have taken him out, and that would have been kind of amusing, because it's always amusing when a lurk gets taken down by a mine, but at the same time sad because, well, a lurk just got taken down by a mine. Anyway, Ael's over here fighting Fisk and Rising, and they're going to be able to cap gravity. Seeing a whole bunch of aliens sort of converging towards the center. Maybe it's just the lurks, though. They're going to move in, pick off Oldwick, and now Flo's by himself. Rising's without armor, but Zloko's pretty much fine, so he should be able to take that bite, no problem. If they land it, Rising's going to have to get out through the vent. Zloko's going to actually have to leave, too, just because he's out of energy. Taking a look at this, you can see that Over.Extension's, they're grabbing some res all over the map. And they definitely have more kills, and I think a lot of that is because of the Shade Hive. They're able to get the drop on them, especially when it comes to the Skulks. It definitely improves the ability of the Skulks to, go and bite off a Marine's head before the Marine knows what's happening. At least if you don't, get the corner checked immediately. If you know what corners to check and you're able to spot the Skulk before the Skulk, is able to have their chance to jump out and bite your head off, then okay, by all means, you will have a fair chance to take out that Skulk just as you ordinarily would. But if you don't spot the Skulk, or the Skulk spots you and is able to wall jump its way up behind you and you don't see it on the minimap, well, you're toast. And they're going to see if they can go and recap their natural here, it looks like. Meanwhile, a lot of aliens moving around the map. We do see Phaser up. That'd be Lum and Bruno again. Up as Fades. Fisk is sitting at 21 res, so it's going to be quite a while before he's able to get Onos. But he's still gorging away over there, so if he's planning on, staying up as a gorge for particularly, for much longer, they'll be able to get the second hive up. Wherever they plan on that being. With 3 Marines down here, though, I mean, you could just go take fabrication. I don't think it's necessarily the better hive, though. It's kind of an annoying one, just from the long hallway over by the RT that you can jump up to. And just these 3 Marines are just kind of hanging out over here, not really dying, not really getting much done either. They have this nice little gorge fort over here in the corner, and it's just keeping them occupied. It's keeping a gorge and a fade occupied, but it's also keeping 3 Marines, busy. There's this shift growing in the middle of the room. 92, 94, 95. It's grown! Goodbye, shift. Goodbye. Anyway, while that was going on, we have somebody up here shooting at stuff. It looks like, did Fisk lose his gorge? We're seeing something blinking in base. That'd be like life forms all over the place. Killing stuff. Armor 2 is almost done. Rising backs out through the vent. And they're just kind of flailing around over here. Obviously, the Marines that were over in Drone Bay either got cleared or had to run back. Drone Bay has been dropped. There's nobody down there at the moment, so it's a very safe hive drop for them at the moment. And they're melting all the res, so they're going to be down to 1 RT here in a moment. And you can see they're just kind of locking down the res. There goes 1 RT, and we'll see the other one drop here too. So there we go. Both of them down. They're down to 1 RT. And they do have 48 res, so it's not like they're in any danger of not being able to recap immediately. But it's just a matter of they have to get the life forms out of there so they can actually recap. And they're gonna at least get Plaza back. That's a nice open room, very good for Marines. But then again, it's also really obnoxious to shoot in, which is somewhat surprising. Weapons 2 going finally. Not sure if the, well, I don't know. It might actually be better to just go and try and really cap the heck out of everything. Bruno's down there as a fade. I don't think that Tommy Gun saw him at all until he jumped down the window. But a couple of LMGs versus a couple of fades. I think the fades are going to win. They might end up taking down one of them if they land the right bullets, but here comes a lurk as well. So Kartoshka, sorry, is going to go down too low. Seeing a group of 3 shotguns though, pushing forward into energy flow. They're gonna work on that whip. They obviously need to get away from it though, because it's smacking them in the face. But it looks like it's a mature whip, but it's dead. Rising's just sitting on the floor spiking. Hey, look, it's the fades. And they have this nice thing in the middle of the room that they can dance around. Zoloko gets quite a bit of damage done to him. They still do have the Crag in the room, a nice bone wall there to try and split them up. Oldwick helping out with the splitting by going around a corner and up a stairwell. That's, as you can see, there's the stairs here and the stairs here and the nice wall in the middle. Yeah, that definitely didn't help them any for being able to save each other. It is, after a lot easier to shoot aliens off of your friend than it is off of yourself. They're just going to go and take down the power here in fabrication. That'll give them, slow down the Marine ability to cap. They do have weapons 2 finally done now, so that'll help clear out these skulks and stuff. But they haven't really they haven't really taken enough of these life forms down enough for it to really be like really decisive and like, say that, yeah, if the weapons 2 had been done 3 seconds ago, they would have been able to melt this, this alien. But as I say that, they almost wipe out Bruno there. He's down to about 1/3 health. Zoloko's in the vent, and he doesn't have any armor, so he can't take that engagement. Look at all these whips, though. It's a wall of whips. If they come up here, they'll get smacked by that front one. If they think, oh, we can just run by it, well, guess what? There's 2 more just like chilling there, and a Crag being more obnoxious, and it looks like they're going to walk at least one of the whips up. And there haven't been any life forms going down as of yet. Oh, that bone wall actually doing more harm than good, but they were able to win that in the end. The drone bay hive is almost done. That will almost certainly be a Crag hive. Not that they're really in danger of having too much, needing, what is it? Oh, well, we're going to have a beacon here, and that's going to pull all the Marines back. They were able to get up to 4 RTs again by capping the north part of the map, primarily. Looking at the res, it looks like Fisk is at 42. So it looks like he will line up. He'll be there. He'll be to Onos res a little bit before the lurks are. They do have charge already done for him for whenever that happens to be an option. I think that, yeah, if he hadn't been a gorge, he would have already been a Onos. The tunnels definitely have helped though in this case. They've really helped them lock down that chunk of the map. Well, pretty much that whole section that's green. Because it's just giving them such close access. And look at that nice little trap there for anything that glows yellow to spectate is pretty much threatening to kill it, except for no-nos. Bruno's actually really low, and we saw something just chomp down an obs or recycle it or something. I hope they realize that's happened, because guess what? They have a bunch of aliens in base. Look at the arms lab go. Goodbye, arms lab. Hello. Time to bite the IP. One of the IPs is definitely going to go down. They are going to take down the Skulk. And now these Marines are really squishy. And they're going to be able to converge on that other IP. And let's see, we still have 3 left on the field. They built a field obs. The one over here. So after realizing that, we kind of lost the obs and the arms lab and everything. They built the obs over here in Hydro because that's where they had the most people. They got that built, but at this point they're just saying screw it, GG. There isn't enough res to really rebuild anything. They got their IP back, okay, but yeah, there isn't enough to get that arms lab back. And when you're fighting this many life forms, you're gonna be torn to tiny pieces. I think Rising just got picked off there. Worth. All right. So a lot of better Marine games, a lot of better Alien games there than Marine games, at least this far. All right. Ahem. So, let's see, that'd be 2 for overextension and 1 for intent. That would be the score. There we go. So this will be the final round. I mean, if things go the way they've been, it may end up being pretty much the same thing. Another alien win. It could just be these map positions, maybe for whatever reason, favor how these teams play aliens more. I know that that's probably. I'm pretty sure if I go and look at the match list for week 4, that there have been some that are not 2-2. So I'm sure that it is entirely possible for Marines to win on either of these maps. So we'll just have to see how they end up playing it. I mean, I think that that the start that Overextension had here as aliens was definitely very strong. They were able to go and just lock down that lower part of the map, and Fisk didn't even get to go Onos. I think part of that might be because they did end up doing having to move the tunnel. I mean, that's another 3 res or whatever, 6 res. Well, for both tunnel halves. I don't remember if another one died or not, but it definitely was one way to lock down. Let's see, the first tunnel went from like this. So, okay, that locks down 3. And then it went like that. And that gives you sort of like 4.5. Because Hydra is pretty close to both of them, both between having this little South Corridor event and being able to go just from energy flow to over to Hydro. So it sort of gave them a much better like way to launch themselves into Hydro. I wish I could look at the last round's res graph. Ah, NS2 stats. Did it work? Let's see. Let's see if it's actually here. Alright, nice. Everything is showing up. Alright, so as you can see, once they got RTs, they pretty much held on to them most of the game. They obviously took off in res overall, though. Just, well, that doesn't seem like it lines up right. Curious. Anyway, they obviously end up with a lot more kills in the end, too. Just that, I think that Shade Hive really helps. I mean, if you aren't used to playing against it, again, I don't know how often the Oz teams use Shade Hive, but if they aren't used to playing against Shade Hive, that really has to hurt them because, again, you aren't used to checking those corners. You're used to being able to hear the skull coming and then being able to spin around in a circle and be like, ah, no, there you are, I'm going to shoot you now, and then potentially win. But if you can't hear them coming, well, we'll see. Let's see what they end up doing, though, because here we're going to move into the final round of Overextension versus Intent. And let's see what happens. Pretty much the same spawns, so that much is okay. I'm unsurprisingly gonna see some mines starting up here. 4 building it. I actually had Parsnip starting the chair there, so that's so that way he can buy his own mines. At least that should be the reason behind it. So that way once mines are done, they don't have to worry about, sending somebody else back or, somebody else getting picked. They're needing somebody to get picked. They can just go and, have Parsnip say, hey, I'm jumping out of the chair there. Look at that. Okay, you did hear him. I was getting concerned there for a moment because it looked like I think he just hid under the stairs there. That is, as you can see, has a nice little gap there, which he was able to, Tommy Guns was able to hide under. Looks like Oldwick cleared out Fisk, but they're gonna go and rebuild energy flow there. Rising's all by himself there. It looks like Bruno's running over to meet him. He's gonna start on the power. Maybe he could bait one of them out. But here comes Bruno, so it will be 2. Kartoshka's moving along the ceiling. If we can jump down and see where he is. Oh, he's just out of sight. Hiding behind that pillar there. And there he goes. There's 3 in the area, though, so that's not going to go well. Power's primed now into Hydro. Meanwhile, stuff is blinking in base. We already have some mines down. So Parsnip is out. It looks like he did buy his mines. Let's see, where's his res? He did buy his mines. Those are his mines. And they also went Shade Hive. However, since they only have two veils up at this point, AOL actually went camo skulk first. Right now, since he gave himself away, that isn't going to help him very much, but obviously, silence, yeah, one veil, two veil, it's a little bit better, but three veil is just amazing with silence, because, you know, you get that advantage of being able to sneak up on him at full speed. But at this point, all the aliens are dead, aside from Flo, who is fleeing the premises. We have any more mines going up? Just the one set of mines so far in base. We'll have to see if they end up doing like forward mines anywhere. Bruno and Rising working on this RT. It looks like we got Tommy Guns, Kartoshka, and Oldwick. Oh, and Ale. Like everybody grouping up to try and rescue this and try and lock that down. But they're going to actually try and cap it, it looks like. And interestingly, they also went for an early obs. So I guess they're really worried about having something, you know, bad happen. Oldwick gets the kill there. All that's left is Bruno. Bruno has reloaded his LMG, so he probably will end up winning this. Okay, Bruno does take him out. Fisk was there as well, so no matter what, he looked like he's going to be going down. I guess they're just really afraid of... okay, there you can see the arms lab now going up. But I guess they're just really afraid of, you know, having something happen in their base that they can't respond to. I mean, really, it just... you know, a pack or two of mines is generally enough for a lot of people to, you know, to be able to get back. Especially if you aren't actually overextending. If overextension is actually overextending, then yes, maybe it's not enough time. But for the most part, as you're watching Loam versus Tommy Guns here, Loam ends up winning. Just need to like another Parasite or a Bite or so to really take that. But yeah, just that... I don't know. It'd be really... just seems like it's perhaps a little bit too much concern. I mean, it isn't going to help them at all, just from the fact that Intent can, you know, sneak up on them and bite them and kill them very quickly. It's still 2 bites and a Parasite. Okay, we are finally seeing Armor 1 going now, though. It's kind of delayed. They're up to 5. They're almost up to 6 RTs, though, so Intent really needs to get on that res biting. They've only taken down 1 RT so far. I mean, yes, it's only 3 minutes in, so, you know, it's pretty early, but they really need to make sure that they're on top of that res biting thing. See, they put some mines over by the RTs, so that's helped out a bit, I'm sure. Okay, the scouts are down, so they know the aliens are there, they know where they are. Ale getting very chipped. Loam has to reload. There's actually another mine over here. There are some more forward mines, which is definitely good for helping that out. Looks like Oldwick was like, screw that, I'm gonna go bite obs. He's gonna take that down. Nobody in that area even to help him out, though. It looks like a spawner is heading that way. Looks like that's Fisk heading that way, and he might actually run into Ale. Ale may actually be able to take him. I mean, Fisk is like really focused on taking him out, and he's able to clear that. So that was a great example of what you're able to do with shade up. You see some Marine that's running in front of you, and if he's not paying attention to the minimap, he's like, I gotta rescue that RT. That RT is like, you know, gonna die if I don't get there super quick. You know, you're just pounce on up behind him and be like, hi, friend, and then bite him in the back. Seeing a lot of biting there from Flo, but not much damage being done. I don't even see that many med packs on the ground, so either Parsnip was, Parsnip was doing really awesome on the meds, or just a lot of missed bites there. I don't know whether some of that is ping issues, but definitely could have ended that engagement faster. It's Loco versus Kartoshka. Kartoshka able to get that RT, and then Oldwick goes and cleans up Loco. So there we go, finally getting on that res. They're recapping over here now in observation. Down 4 RTs down in 5 minutes. Much better rate there. Finally got past that initial part of the game where you're trying to take the engagements rather than, you know, just going to bite res as a skulk. You can see Flo was hiding up in the ceiling. There is a little thingy up there that's like part of a little hologram. What's it? I think he was hiding behind that. Anyway, both lurks coming through. There are some mines down there, so they better watch out. There's the one on the wall there and the one in the vent, so either one of those could end up with a dead lurk if they end up going through there. Armor 2 going up, obviously to help with the issues with Shade Hive, you know, give you that extra little bit of reaction time, or, you know, available reaction time for being able to, you know, turn around and shoot whatever's biting you. Flo easily able to go in there and bite Loam, however, he did take quite a bit of damage there from Bruno. A little bit of lagging there, it looks like. Seeing some of the Aussie pings going a little bit nuts. Seeing Ale and Oldwick moving on into gravity again. Zloko's kind of low. Does get taken down by Oldwick, and now he's over towards Rising. He's going to bite Rising, but ends up getting cleared. Looks like Flo is going to come drifting on in there. Seeing a fake hive up in fabrication, so it looks like there was that engagement there, and probably missed the hallucination and ended up hitting the tech point with it. Weapons 1 is now started. So they're actually working on the drifter. I doubt that he thinks that's a real hive. We'll see if he shoots it. Is he gonna shoot it? Nope. That hive actually, if I recall correctly, will kind of make med packs float in the air, just like a normal one would. So that's definitely a bad place to be. Would be underneath a hallucinated hive. You aren't doing any damage to, you know, anything useful. You're just having med packs land in the sky. Watch out! Oh, Flo almost. Oh! Oh, that mine. Flo might want to decide to stay in there. He almost got taken out there. He's trapped on the wrong side, and looks like there's somebody that might be able to pinch him. Loam is down there in, I mean, he's... Can they jump in there? I wonder. I guess we'll find out while he's sitting in there being scared. They're going to have to go rescue that poor lurk. Seeing some res going down all over. Seeing Oldwick versus Loco. Oldwick just gets completely annihilated. Flo is still hiding in the vent, and looks like we had a couple people come in to try and rescue him. Loam ends up winning. Flo's still stuck in a vent. So on the one hand, you have a lurk stuck in a vent. In the other hand, oh, now he's mined in. He's mined into that vent. But he's a lurk. He can just spike the mine and hopefully not die. Or have the other lurk come over and spike the mine and hopefully not die. But that one he can't hit. That one's out of line of sight. So that'll be fun. Anyway, weapons 2 finally going. Tommy Gun's pretty hurt, heading over in that general direction of his fellow lurk. Oh my goodness, that was iffy. Oh well, he has enough health now, they're just going to be able to get out. It looks like... Oh my goodness, Flo! What's with the mines? Just get out the vent, dude. Oh wait, there's a mine in the vent. You can see the one floating there. Alright, they're triggering a beacon, and they better get all the lurks out of there. Alright, they all flee. Drifter dies. So that was kind of a weird rescue for the poor lurk. But they're both alive still, so... Taking a look at the res graph, you can see that they've now taken down 6 RTs, but they've sort of evened out now at about 5. Part of that is probably because of, you know, having to deal with a lurk trapped in a vent forever, but Flo is still, oh my goodness. Still, kind of hurt. I don't know why he's still floating around away from the hive at this point. I don't think he had enough time to go back and heal. Tommy Guns, on the other hand, he's free to go and drift about wherever he wishes. Another RT going down of Over.Extension, so they're up to 7 and 2. They're, you know, reasonably keeping a hold of the res that they have, but, you know, it hasn't been too terribly much. They have taken down another couple RTs recently, and okay, both the lurks are ready to go. Problem is that they know that they're there. Flo moves in, he tries to get some bites on anything, but ends up going out. And just at this point, it's probably best to just move back and heal. I mean, they're giant flying things in this huge open room. They do have AO there now, too. Flo better watch out, though, because he did move in to try and bite, but didn't really successfully bite on anything. Both of them are really low. They just need to get out. Just go away, lurks. Rising and Loam, just holding on, killing some drifters. Here comes a whip that is being walked forward, and the whip is like, hello. But, looks like, okay, they do have phase tech, so they could actually put a gate up there if they really wanted. Oh, it looks like we might have had somebody disconnect. Oh, nope, he's alive. Kartoshka is alive. I was wondering what that skulk was doing. Alright, so they are going for a gate there, up in that little hallway right there. Security! Okay, a security gate. So they now have a gate up, but they have fades up as well. So AL is right there along with Oldwick, and they're just able to just mutilate those poor Marines, and they're going to just chomp that gate. So, yeah, what position they looked like they were maybe having, it just went away. It isn't a normal gate spot either. I mean, normally you just see it in Plaza, but... I mean, it kind of works, I guess. But they did get one up to gravity, so that gives them a nice position. It's a little bit too late to just, like, shotgun rush everything. But it looks like they're going to push in and try. They should have probably... Okay, they are going to have a couple people sitting back by the gate. So it isn't necessarily going to get completely annihilated. Taking a look at the res, they're up to 6 RTs. They have 9 taken down. And they're just going to go in. It looks like going after the upgrades. Oh, no, kind of on different targets. Okay, now they're on the upgrades. They're going to melt these veils and make all the aliens not be so quiet. Here comes Tommy Guns moving back in. Of course, aliens lacking a beacon are just going to have to try and regroup and try and take them out. They may end up losing both the shotguns that were up there. Or was it one shotgun? Looks like one shotgun. But it's close enough to the gate somebody can go back and try and rescue that. Looks like Aol is going to try and poke his nose into gravity. There's one sort of shot there by Fisk that took just a little bit of skin off the top and chased him back to the hive. So at this point, okay, they have some turrets up there. Let's see, where is the robo this time? It's still back in base. It's, again, not a very effective robo. If they try to arc anything, it's going to take them like a million years to get anywhere. At this point, they have 5 RTs. Why is the robo all the way across the map? Robos cannot use face gates. They are going to take down that one hive, and that was it. They were just like, forget this. So there it goes. That would be the final game. That would be a, actually, yeah, 3-1 Over.Extension. So good game for them. And that will be it for tonight. That was kind of an abrupt end, but so it goes. Let's see, what else is there? Again, if you are scheduling versus a European team, their time change is tonight. So make sure that you've done the math correctly for the future. And of course, it's going to become even more complicated when, North America has their time change. What is it, next weekend? Just to make things more obnoxious, like the weekend before this one was Australia. So it was Australia, then Europe, and now us. Or, well, next weekend will be the US and company. So just to be kind of annoying on that front. So keep that in mind when you're scheduling your matches for week 4, week 5, week whatever. Make sure they're all scheduled. Make sure that you're confirming matches, because that is kind of important. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the evening. Saw some silly stuff going on there with the lurks, and glad that we did finally see a Marine win at last. And thank you for watching.